Hello friends, welcome back. In this video, we'll be discussing some more critical listening questions which are going to be useful for you in cracking your RC passages in your management exams, including CAT. So we have already discussed the strategies or the techniques that you should use in critical listening in the previous videos. So I hope you have watched all these videos and have mastered the techniques to some extent. Now, from now on, we'll only be doing the exercises where we are going to repeatedly practice the skills that we have already learned, so that uh, your proficiency in cracking the questions using the right approaches will become very much proficient or very much acute in the coming days before the exam, so that you can face the exam confidently without a problem. So we'll go straight away to the questions. Read the passage properly, understand it well, and then go through the options. Before that, read the question correctly, understand what you have to find out, then go through the options, eliminate the wrong options, then shortlist the possible answers, then select the best answer. I'll give you some meanings. Common tongue means common language. Asunder means apart. All right. So what is the essence of the argument? The essence is in the first sentence. The argument is, the author is saying that no nation can survive for a long time unless its people are united by a common tongue, means unless the nation has a common language. So the survival of a nation for a long period of time depends on that nation having a common language. This is the argument made by the author. And in order to support it, he is giving you the example of Canada, where the country is torn apart by conflict between French-speaking Quebec and the other provinces which are dominated by English speakers. From this, we can understand that in Canada there are two languages spoken by the people. One is French, which is spoken mainly in the Quebec areas, and English is spoken in the other provinces. So because of this, Canada is being torn apart. That is what the author says. So in any argument, you have the argument itself, then the fact that supports the argument. So here in this particular argument, the first statement is the argument, and the second statement is the fact which is supporting the argument. Now, what is that we have to find out? We have to find out a statement that challenges the author's conclusion or challenges the author's argument. Means any statement that weakens the author's argument, that to the statement that weakens the argument to the maximum. That is what you have to find out. So you have to find out a statement that weakens the argument of the author to the maximum possible extent. So when you are going to find out a statement that weakens an argument, you can either find out a statement that weakens the facts that support the argument or weakens the logic of the argument itself. So you have to look at two things. One is the any statement that weakens the facts which support the argument, that is a good answer, or any statement that weakens the logic of the argument itself, that also is an even better answer. So these are the things you have to remember. So remember, always understand the logic in a very plain idea or a simple idea. The author is arguing that no nation can survive for a long period of time without a common language, and the fact he is giving is the case of Canada. So these are the things you need to know. Now going to the options. Option A, conflicts over language have led to violent clashes between the Basque speaking minority and Spanish speaking majority. So it says that there are a lot of conflicts happening in this particular place where Spain, where one kind of type of people are speaking in Basque and another type of territory is speaking Spanish. So this is again supporting what the author is saying, because the author has given the case of Canada to say that these kind of conflicts are happening between people who speak different languages. That is why a common language is necessary for a country. So option A is also saying, talking about, giving you one more example of a nation where there are a lot of conflicts between people speaking two different languages. So this option is again supporting the argument. We need an option that weakens the argument. So since this statement is supporting the argument of the author, it is not our answer. Option B, proposals to declare English the official language of the United States have met with resistance from the members of Hispanic and other minority groups. Again, he says that when USA was trying to declare English as the official language, there were some resistance from people who were speaking Hispanic and other communities, means people who are speaking Spanish. So people who speak Spanish, such communities are known as Hispanic communities. So there were some minority groups and people who were speaking Spanish in USA. They were protesting. So what is the essence of this argument? Here the statement is giving an example where it says that it is not very easy to implement a common language in a country. So the author is arguing that you need to have a common language. This statement is saying that it is not easy to have a common language. There will be protests from people who are speaking other languages. So again, this is weakening the argument of the author. So since this argument is weakening the argument of the author, this is a possible answer. Keep it in your mind. Why? Because this is telling you that the author is saying that there should be a common language. This says that it is not very easy to implement a common language. So this is a statement that weakens the argument of the author. So possible answer, keep it in your mind. Option C, economic and political differences along with linguistic ones have contributed to the provincial conflicts in Canada. So what is he saying? It is saying the author as a support for his argument, he is saying that Canada is having a lot of internal conflicts because of two languages. This option C is saying that it is not just because of languages, there are other reasons for the conflicts that are happening in Canada. So what is it doing? It is again weakening the fact. So here the author is giving you a fact to support his argument. This option is weakening that fact. So this also is a possible answer, because when you weaken the fact that supports an argument, you are weakening the argument itself. So this option is also a good option or a likely answer. So B, C are good options, likely answers. What both B and C are doing? B is actually saying that it is not very easy to implement a common language. So by talking about an example where USA tried to implement a common language, they faced a lot of resistance. So it is talking about the difficulty in implementing a common language. So it is directly attacking the argument, logic of the argument. This option C is attacking the fact that supports the argument. So this again is a possible answer. Option D, the Republic of India in existence since 1947 has a population that speaks hundreds of different though related languages. So what is it saying? It says that in India has been in existence since 1947. There are a lot of languages spoken, different types of languages, though related, means they are all related languages, but still they are different languages spoken by the people of India. But this country has been in existence since 1947. So the author in his passage is saying that the nation cannot survive for long without a common language, whereas option D is giving us an example where there is there is no common language, but the country is in existence since 1947. Again, possible answer. Option E, Switzerland has survived for nearly 1,000 years as a home for speakers of three different languages. So here in India, we have hundreds of different languages, but they are related languages. In Switzerland, we have three completely different languages, no relation with each other, and it has survived for nearly 1,000 years. So this again is a possible answer, because it weakens the logic of the argument. So you have all B, C, D, and E, all weakening arguments. So which is the best argument? So when you have four possible answers, you are able to eliminate only option A, B, C, D, and E are all possible answers for your question. So in such cases, go through the passage very carefully and understand what is the crux of the argument. The crux is that no nation can survive long without a common language. So the argument is that a nation cannot survive for a long period of time without a common language. So uh, options B and C are not talking about survival of the nation for a long period of time. It is only talking about USA having or facing opposition in implementing a common language. And in Canada, there are other reasons for conflicts, not purely language. So that is not directly attacking the crux. The crux is the survival of the nation for a long period of time. That is what the author's main point is. Main point is that a nation cannot survive for a long period of time unless it is having a common language. So B and C are not talking about survival in the options. So this is why these are not, when you go for the second analysis, this you can remove. Then what remains is options D and E. Both talk about two countries where the countries have survived for periods of time with different languages without having a common language. Now among B and D and E, which is a better answer? By now you might have clearly got the answer. The answer is E, because why? The survival of for 1,000 years, so long survival. Author is arguing that no nation cannot survive for long without a common language. Switzerland is an example where a country has survived for 1,000 years with 3 different languages. In the case of India, you have hundreds of different languages, but they are related. The survival is only for around 75 years, whereas in the case of Switzerland, the survival is even longer, 1,000 years, 3 different languages. Here 100 different but related languages, here completely different languages, long period of survival. So when you compare D and E, E has a longer period of survival. Switzerland has a longer period of survival. So this option very clearly negates the argument by talking about a country which has survived for 1,000 years with 3 different languages. Here, the author is talking about Canada, which could not survive because of the, which has a problem which is being torn apart by French and English speaking people. And based on this, he says that a nation cannot survive long. Whereas in this, as a counter argument, you are saying that Switzerland survived for 1,000 years with 3 different languages. So this option is the best option that weakens the argument of the author. So this is the method by which you have to find the answer. You have to analyze the argument very carefully and understand what is the crux. Then you have to find the statement which clearly defeats that crux. That will be the best argument that weakens the author's argument. So option E will be the answer here. I hope it is clear. Go to the next one. All right, what is the argument? Argument is that Mr. Grayson is the best choice for the chairperson of a new council on business labor relations. What is a business labor relationship council? Where the business leaders or the capitalists or the investors and the labor union people representatives, they have a joint council to discuss about the labor related issues for smooth functioning of the businesses. That is called a business labor relationships council, and Grayson is the excellent choice to become the chairperson of that council. Why? Because, so this is the argument, this is the fact that supports the argument. The first statement is a fact. What is the fact? He is an experienced labor organization and he was the head of the nation's most powerful labor union. So these are the two qualifications for Grayson to be the best candidate to be the chairperson of the business labor council. This is what the argument is saying. Now, which of the following will strengthen the conclusion? So here you have to find a statement that strengthens the argument. So the conclusion means argument. So any statement that strengthens the argument should be strengthening the fact that supports the argument. So this is how you have to understand what is the fact. He is an experienced labor organization and the head of the nation's most powerful union. So you have to focus on the fact. Anything that is supporting this fact or deriving support from this fact is the best candidate or the best option to support this argument. Option A, the new council must have the support of the nation's labor leaders if it is to succeed. So this council should have the support of the labor leaders if the council has to succeed, because this council is a joint council between the business owners as well as the laborers. So such a council, if it has to succeed, the labor leaders should be supporting it. And Grayson, being a labor organization as a head of the nation's powerful union, he should be able to get the support of the labor leaders. So this is a possible answer. Option A, B, during his years as a labor leader, Grayson established a record of good relations with business leaders. So even while he was a labor union leader, he had very good relations with businessmen. So since this council is a joint council between businessmen and labor union leaders, so since he already has a very good relation with business leaders, he will be the candidate, a very good candidate to be the chairperson. So this again is a good statement that supports the argument. Option C, the chair of the new council must be a person who can communicate directly with the leaders of the nation's largest labor union leaders. So chairperson should have the ability to communicate with the labor union leaders. So since Grayson himself was a labor union leader of one of the nation's most powerful labor unions, he will be in a position to communicate directly with them. So this again is a good option, that supports the argument. Now, most of the other members of the new council will be representatives of business management interests. So it says that the other members of the council will be business leaders. So they will not be labor union members or labor leaders or labor representatives. They will be business leaders. So whether they are business leaders or not, how it is going to make a difference in Grayson becoming a choice, we don't know. So this is not a good reason for Grayson to be the chairperson. Maybe you can say that since other members of the council are all business leaders, Grayson should be a member because he is representing the labor union. But here we are not talking about Grayson being a member of the union. He is the chairperson. So just because other members are representatives of businesses means they are all businessmen or they are all capitalists. So since other members are all capitalists, it doesn't make sense, or it doesn't mean that Grayson should be the chairperson of that council. So this is not supporting our argument. So this is not a good answer. Option E, an understanding of the needs and problems of labor is the only qualification necessary for the job of chairing the council. So if you want to be the chairperson, you need to have an understanding of the needs and problems of the labor. So that again is a since he is a experienced labor organization, he will definitely have the understanding of the needs and problems. So this again is a good answer. So now you have 4 probable answers. So here you have 4 probable answers. So how to establish or how to find out the best answer? See, now we are talking about Grayson being a candidate for the chairperson. So we have to focus on those options where the chairperson's qualities or the eligibilities are discussed. The new council must have. The option E is talking about the council. It is not talking about what are the qualities the chairperson should have. So this is why, since some other answers are available which are discussing about the qualities or the eligibility conditions for the chairperson, we will ignore this, or we will not consider it as a better option than others. Then option B, during his years as a labor leader, Grayson established a good relation with business leaders. So since he was a labor leader, he established good relations with labor leaders. That is correct. But how it makes him eligible to be the chairperson? That is the question. This makes him eligible to be the member of the council. But why he should be a chairperson of the council? We don't know. Since it is not talking about anything that makes him eligible to be the chairperson, this also can be ignored. Then option C, the chair of the new council must be a person who can communicate directly. So this option talks about the quality that a chairperson of the council should have. He should be able to communicate directly. That Grayson is having. So this is again a good answer. And understanding of the needs and problems of the labor is the only qualification necessary for the job of chairing the new council. Again, something that the chairperson of the council should have. So these two are again probable answers. Now again read the options correctly. We have, because we have to select one answer out of these two, C and E. Which is the best answer? The best answer is E. Why it is the best answer? Only qualification. So it says that the only qualification that the chairperson of the council should have is the ability to understand the needs and problems of labor, and Grayson has that because he is an experienced labor organization and the former head of one of the nation's most powerful union leaders. So we will definitely have an understanding of the needs and problems of the laborers. That is the only qualification, because of which this makes Grayson the best choice to be the chairperson. This option says that chairperson of the new council must be a person who can communicate directly. So this communication skill, it is not necessary that Grayson has or only has the communication skill. Many other people in the council must be having that communication skill. Whereas in this case, the only qualification or the most important qualification needed is the understanding of the needs and problems, which Grayson has as per the passage. That is why option E should be the best answer that we have among the options. So option E should be the answer here. This is how you, from a wide range of options, how you eliminate each option one by one using your logic and arrive at the correct answer. So this is the best answer, because what is the question here? Most strengthen. Most strengthen is the keyword. So which is the option that most strengthens the conclusion that Grayson is the best choice, because the most strengthening conclusion is this one, because the only qualification needed to be the chairperson is the qualification that Grayson has, the experience. That is why he should be the chairperson. So that is why option E is the best answer among the answers available. All right, now go to the third question. What is the meaning of the word loaf? They tend to become lazy, means they don't give too much attention to their work, so they will be loitering around, they will not be sincere to their jobs. That is loafing. All right, so the passage is talking about civil service employees. In order to fire them or to dismiss them from their jobs, the manager had to spend around $100,000 of taxpayers' money or government money. So this, when taxpayers' money had to be spent for firing an employee, normally the managers will not be doing it. So the employees also are aware that it is very difficult to fire them. So they become lazy. They will not be too sincere or too diligent in their jobs, because they know that their jobs are very secure. Whether they work or they don't work, the managers will not be firing them too easily. So this knowledge makes them lazy, and this is why the government is inefficient to a large extent. That is the author's argument. So author is saying that the civil service employees are aware that the managers have to spend a lot of money, that to taxpayers money, if they are to be fired. So they feel that this the managers will not be doing it so easily, so their jobs are secure. Since their jobs are secure, they will become lazy, they will not be too diligent in their jobs. This is why the government is so inefficient. This is the author's argument. Now what is the author's belief regarding? So from whatever facts are given, what can you infer about the author's assumptions, or what is in an inference? We have already discussed in our critical reasoning basics video. Inference is anything that you can understand from the facts given. So what is the inference you can make based on the facts given regarding the author's belief, or what are the things that the author believes based on what he has stated in the passage? Option or statement one: too much job security can have a negative influence on workers. Definitely, the author believes that the too much of job security will have a negative influence. That is, how can you say that? This statement: since civil service employees know how hard it is to fire them, they tend to loaf. This is what the author says. So since they are aware that their jobs are very secure, they become lazy. So to the author's belief is that too much job security can have a negative influence on the workers, so they will not be working properly. So this is a good inference. It is supported by the second sentence. Option 2, or statement 2: more government workers should be fired. Is it given here? The passage says that some civil service workers or civil service workers have this particular knowledge that it is very difficult to fire them, so they become lazy. This is why government is inefficient to a large part. So more government workers should be fired. Is the author saying so? The author says the author is having the belief that civil service employees who are lazy, they should be fired. Whether all government workers are civil service employees, it is not given here. Civil service employees are part of government workers, that we know, and civil service employees are, some of them are lazy, and the author believes that all those lazy civil service employees should be fired. But here the option is saying that more government workers should be fired. We have no supporting fact in the passage to say that whether all government workers are civil service workers, or whether all the more government workers should be fired or not. This is not given. What we can say is that the author believes that all civil service workers which are lazy should be fired. If the statement had been like that, then we can say it would have been a correct statement. But here, more government workers should be fired. Whether, we don't know whether all the government workers are civil service workers, we don't know. And whether all such people or more government workers should be fired, we don't know. The author's only opinion is that all civil service employees which are lazy, they should be fired. That is what author believes. So this may not be a good answer. Option 3: most government workers are civil service employees. Yes. What about this option? In this option leaves the benefit of doubt that all civil service employees are not government employees. All government employees are not civil service employees. Why? The last sentence. The last sentence says that this explains in large part why government is inefficient. If all the government employees were civil service employees, what he would have said? He would have said that this explains why government is inefficient. But here he says that in large part. In large part means this is the reason why government to a large extent is inefficient. Why? Most of the government workers will be civil service employees, and many of them, since they know that their jobs are very secure, they will become lazy, and it is very difficult to fire them. So that is why government is inefficient. So this is why in the third statement, the here the most in large part tells us that the author believes that most government workers are civil service employees. That is why he says that the government to a large extent is inefficient, because government employees are largely made up of civil service employees, or most of the government employees are civil service employees. So this again is a good option. So 1 and 3 are correct, 2 is not correct. Any inference should be supported by the facts given. This is a basic rule that we have studied in our fundamental critical reasoning fundamentals class. If you have not understood the critical reasoning fundamentals, go back and watch the critical reasoning fundamentals video, where we have discussed about what is a fact, what is an inference, what is an assumption, what is a conclusion, how you have to differentiate these things. So 1 and 3 are the correct options. Option B should be the answer. Now, I hope you have found the video to be useful. I would like to request you to try to share the video among your friends and other people who are preparing for CAT or other management exams, so that I get more reach, so that more people will get benefited. So this is my sincere request. I want to you to try to share this video and talk about this channel to other people who are preparing for the videos. Thank you. We'll meet again in the future videos. We'll be very shortly starting the RC passages also. First, we will discuss about parajumbles, parasummaries, critical reasoning, etc. So that once you have a very good grounding on the fundamental skills in VRC, then we will talk about RC passages, because RC passages are the most difficult questions in VRC. Once we have covered all the other options to some extent, then we can start with the RC passages. That is why I have not started with RC passages so far, but very soon we'll be doing that. Before that, I want to have some more viewership, so that I'll get motivated to do this on a daily basis. Thank you. Bye bye.